Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking through my best and worst products from Urban Decay. Now, ever since I restarted this series, I've had so many requests from you guys, so thank you so much for those. But Urban Decay, I think, was definitely like the number one along with Too Faced. So if you haven't already seen my Too Faced one, that's up already. Next is going to be Charlotte Tilbury, which has also been very highly requested. But if you have any other recommendations or requests that you want to hear about my favourite and least favourite products from, then pop a link in the comment section below and I will try my best to do them. So, starting off with base things from Urban Decay. One thing that they're really, really well known for and I personally love are the makeup setting sprays. My favourite one is the Chill. And it's quite funny actually because they still say on the back Urban Decay by Skindinavia. And if any of you guys have been watching YouTube for a really, really, really long time, you will know that there was a massive craze like back in 2009, 2010 where everyone was raving about the Skindinavia sprays. And then the Skindinavia guys started making the sprays for Urban Decay. I'm just having a little trip down memory lane by myself here. My favourite one is the Chill, which is the cooling and hydrating because I don't get particularly oily skin, but I still get like a bit shiny and I definitely get like a little bit cakey. So like this is good for kind of just keeping you looking plumped and hydrated and nice. You can actually use these as priming sprays as well, and I do that. I'm also going to talk about the priming like prep spray, which is the B6. You can use these together, you can use them separately. I personally don't find there's that much difference between the priming and the setting sprays, if I'm honest. But the Chill is really, really good. And I also, the D-Slick, a lot of my oily skin friends do really love it. So it's not just because I don't like that, it's just because of my skin type. I think all of their sprays are really good. So the B6 is the Vitamin Infused Complexion Prep Spray. Redness reducing, pore minimizing, oil absorbing. To be honest, I don't know about redness reducing or pore minimizing, but it definitely does help to like make sure your skin is like prepped and smooth and it's like does absorb oil. That's what I've noticed anyway, as opposed to like, I think redness reducing would have to be over time, right? Anyway, I do really like it and I definitely use it. And then moving on, I'm going to talk at the end about the stuff I don't like because I've got quite a lot of base things. Actually, all three of the products I don't like are base products from Urban Decay because I think other than the prep sprays, I'm not a massive fan of their foundations or their concealers. I know a lot of people do like their concealers, but for me, it's just not my fave. In terms of their eyeshadow palettes, and I know so many people are going to ask about this, which palettes I like. So first of all, the eyeshadow primer. This is definitely one of the best eyeshadow primers out there. I feel like for me, I don't actually use eyeshadow primer that much anymore. I'm going to admit it. Back in the early days of YouTube, I used to probably wear a lot more makeup and I used to really like properly prime and all of that stuff. Now I don't really do it that much. So when I'm going to like a wedding or something, I'll wear a primer if I need something to like last all day, but day to day I don't. But if you're looking for an eyeshadow primer, the Urban Decay one is really, really good and it remains still one of the best, even though lots of other people have brought them out. And then when it comes to the actual eyeshadows themselves, I properly got out all of my Urban Decay palettes and I pretty much have them all from various times. I mean, including like the Moon Dust or whatever it's called, the crazy sparkly one. And I've picked out 3 eyeshadow products that I think are my personal favourites from Urban Decay. The first one is the Naked one. And it's so hard to choose a Naked palette because they are all amazing. Like if you get any of them, they're gonna serve you well. Like you are gonna be able to create loads of different looks with them. The eyeshadow quality is great. I think when these guys first launched, when the Naked palette first came out and there was all that hype and then there was Naked 2, Naked 3 and Naked Basics and Naked this and Naked, everything was Naked. Everything's Naked from Urban Decay now, right? But when these first came out, they were such a game changer because they're a big palette, they were affordable for what they were, and they're an amazing eyeshadow quality. However, I do think now so many brands do amazing alternatives to the Naked palette. Too Faced being one of them, and I spoke a lot about their palettes in my Too Faced video. So the Urban Decay Naked palette isn't necessarily the essential that it used to be. It still is great though. The quality of the shadows is brilliant. It has a really nice kind of colour selection. They're the more warm toned ones, but there's also some cooler ones in there as well, like this gunmetal colour. The one thing I would say this really is missing is a dark matte brown and a dark matte black. Or a black matte black. I mean, do you get light and dark black? Not really. But they're kind of like dispersed between the other ones. So I think the Naked 2 has the dark matte black, or the matte black, and the Naked 3 has the dark matte brown. So they're kind of like, I think they did that on purpose so that you need all of them. But that would be the one downside. Apart from that, I mean, this one has been so heavily used. I don't actually use this anymore because it must be, I'm not entirely sure how old it is, but it was from like the first batch of them, and it probably shouldn't be used anymore because it's really old and skanky, but I keep it for videos like this where I'm talking about it because it still is really iconic and the colours are beautiful. They actually make it out of plastic now as well, so it's not so like gross and fuzzy. And then the other palette that I really, really would recommend from them, probably even more so than the Naked because I think these are harder to find, is the Naked 2 Basics. So these are the slightly more cool toned matte eyeshadows. I actually do have the Ultimate Basics, the bigger Naked Basics palette, and I do like that, but I don't find myself reaching for it all that much, whereas this one I love because it's brilliant to take travelling with you or away or throw in your makeup bag because it's tiny and it has a big mirror. But it's also great for doing your brows. Like, you really can use the products as brow products if the colours work for you because they are a little bit ashier. So I would definitely recommend that. And then the third eyeshadow is totally different, totally crazy for me because, let's face it guys, I never wear colour. But this is Solstace. And this is a really interesting individual eyeshadow for Urban Decay. It's one of their moon, whatever it's called, like moon dust. It's one of the specific colours from the moon dust palette, I believe. But I actually had this before that palette came out. And the reason is, like, it's not a colour that I would wear on its own that much, but you can put it over so many other colours and it just makes them look beautiful. It basically like turns them into a kind of iridescent shade, which is really, really interesting because when you put it on, it almost looks pink. But then when you layer it up over, say, let's do like a dark brown, layer it up over the top and it just adds dimension to it, and you can add it over colours and it just, yeah, it just really, really looks nice. And so that's one thing I would say from Urban Decay. It's a bit of a curveball, but it is really, really good. Keeping on the palette theme, another one, this is actually pretty old now. I hope they still make this because I really do love it, is the Naked Flushed. They do this in a few different colourways, but the one I have is Native. And to be honest, most of this is about convenience because the products are really good, but it's mainly because you have a blush, a highlighter and a bronzer all in one. So it's super convenient. Like, if you want something for your makeup bag that's going to kill 3 birds with 1 stone, it's just great. And the actual quality of the products is lovely. Like, the highlighter is really kind of, it has a slight pinkiness to it, but it's really natural. Like, it's just, yeah, really nice. Really like that a lot, actually. I just closed my finger in it as well. Ow. Then moving on to the eyeliners, I ummed and ahed about whether to put these in this video because I think there are so many good affordable alternatives, but the 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencil, yeah, that's their full name. These are so good. Like, they've made them for years and years, and they really are like so creamy, so soft. They do them in a million different colours. Well, not a million, but like loads of different colours. And they stay on really nicely. They blend really nicely. This is one of my favourite colours, which is Twice Baked. So yeah, in all, like, yes, you can get like the Rimmel Scandalised ones for £4, and they are a lot more affordable, but at the same time, like, the Urban Decay ones are still really good, and they are some of my favourite Urban Decay products. The other thing that I love, actually, and I don't hear a lot of people talk about this, is the All Nighter Eyeliner. And I'm hoping they still make this because I think mine is like fairly old, but it just hasn't dried out. It's basically like a gel eyeliner in a twist up pencil. Like, it is so black. It's the exact like consistency of gel, and it's in a pencil. So, so good. And it lasts like nothing else. And it is like so black. So, so dark and beautiful. And then last but not least, I had to talk about these because they were such a big deal last year, and I kind of feel mixed about them. So they're kind of half in my favourites. These colours are in my favourites. But all in all, I think, considering they did 100 shades, I don't think the colours were all up. Like, I think there could have been a lot more colours that had been my favourites, if you get what I mean. But they're the Vice lipsticks. I really like the cream formulation. So my 2 favourites are in the cream formula, and it's Rush and Manic. So Manic is a really beautiful kind of deep pink, like a deep, deep rose colour. And the cream textures are so gorgeous. They're like really moisturising, really nice. And this, it's not necessarily like the most everyday wearable colour, but it's definitely one that you can wear, like you can dress it up or dress it down. And then Rush is like a slightly mauvey kind of pinky, like it's not quite bubblegum and it's not quite plummy, but it's like a kind of mauvey pink, mauvey light pink, and I really like that. So the Vice lipsticks, some of them, meh, wasn't crazy about. I love the packaging, they look like shotgun shells, but yeah, those two colours are my favourites, and I didn't really love too many of the others. So moving on to the worst products, and actually most of these are quite new. I really didn't get along with the All Nighter foundation. For me, this was too heavy. It's almost like one of those textures, and I realise it's like a long-lasting foundation, but I do have some long-lasting foundations that I like, but I feel like the texture just kind of dried too quickly. Like when you put it on, it just doesn't feel like nice on the skin. It just kind of like dried very, very quickly and almost felt like a bit of a mask. So that one wasn't for me, the All Nighter. And then two of the newer products I thought I would really love are two of the primers. So there's the Optical Illusion and the Self-Adjusting. Self-Adjusting one, okay, I really wanted to like this because it's very, very similar in concept to the Estee Lauder like tinted moisturizer that is grey when you put it on and then it turns into a slight tint, but it feels so greasy, like it's almost too silicone-y that it feels kind of greasy on the skin. I definitely overused it the first time I put it on and I was like, oh my god, I actually had to go and wash my face. But yeah, once I decided that, you know, you had to use probably about half the amount that I had used then, I tried it again and it still just feels a little bit greasy, not a massive fan. And then the Optical Illusion one is kind of the opposite, like it feels like dry, like I don't know. And again, it's very like smoothing, so it has that smoothing effect. I don't know if maybe they'd be better for oilier skins, but I often use like kind of blurring primers and get along with them, but this one I don't know, it didn't float my boat. It wasn't terrible, but it didn't float my boat. So that is it for my rundown of favourites Urban Decay things and ones that didn't quite do it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said in the beginning, if you do have any recommendations, let me know, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.